أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in this verse to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يا أيها الناس يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in this verse to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be mindful about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the most important message Allah sends in this verse to us by saying, وَلْتَنْظُرْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لِغَدٍ, that every one of us, we must think about investment in the hereafter. All of us, our focus should be to invest for the hereafter. We all understand the importance of investment. We all invest, small amount and big amount, for ourselves, for our businesses, for our families, for our children. We invest. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that invest for the hereafter. Invest for the akhirah. Just before the khutbah we were talking about investing for the mosque of this area, Horn Church Mosque. And this is a great investment, because that investment not will only benefit us in this world, but will also benefit us in the hereafter. Whatever investment we make, it will become a long-term sadaqah jariyah, a continuous charity. And therefore, let us come forward and invest for the hereafter. The investment which will give us yields and results in the hereafter, inshallah. What I want to talk about is that what prevents us from making the investment. What doesn't encourage us? What doesn't allow us to make the investment for the hereafter? And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the following verse. Allah says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ أُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ, don't be like those people who forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that this is what holds us back, prevents us from making the investment for the hereafter, because we get carried away in our life. We forget about Allah, we forget about hereafter. We have a busy life, day in, day out, living in this hustling and bustling lifestyle, day in, day out. We wake up and we get bogged down with the daily chores and with the daily business and affairs and matters, and we forget about Allah, and we forget about the hereafter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and that doesn't help us to make the investment for the hereafter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ, don't be like those people, those who forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making a clear message, giving us a clear message, that do not become like those people who forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the question is, what will happen? What will go wrong if we forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ. If you and I forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is saying not to forget Allah, but if we forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what will happen? Allah is saying, فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ, that you and I will be caused to forget ourselves. فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ, that if we forget Allah, this will cause us to forget ourselves. Can you imagine that you and I will forget ourselves? We are running around doing everything for ourselves, isn't it? But yet Allah says that you will forget yourself. Now, if you look at this verse, Allah is saying, don't be like, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ. Don't be like those who forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do that, فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ, you will be caused to forget yourself. Now, we try to remember everything. When we want to wake up early, we put on the alarm, we ask other people, family members, wake me up, I have an important meeting to attend, and so forth and so forth. This is what we do. We list up, we use our calendar, we use our diary, we ask others and so forth to do things in our life. But if you and I, if we forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and forget myself, what is the point of remembering everything else? Is there a point to remember everything else when you and I forget Allah and ourselves? Because when we forget Allah, we forget about ourselves. And this is why it is very important that we don't forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our day-to-day life. And we invest for the hereafter, whether through masajid or through other means, through helping people, earthquakes, Turkey, Syria, and other places. Now, what is also interesting, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, don't forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But our name, Allah named us Insan. This is one of our common names. Ya ayyuhal insan. Allah addresses us in the Quran by saying Insan. We all know this name. That we all have that name, Insan. The word Insan comes from the word Nisyan. The word Insan comes from the word Nisyan. And the meaning of Nisyan is forgetfulness. Is to forget. Quite interesting that Allah is telling us not to forget, and then He created us, and He named us Insan, which comes from Nisyan, and that means forgetfulness. That in our nature, in our creation, there is inherent element that we tend to forget. This is even me. We all forget. I forget, you forget. So Allah is telling us not to forget, but Allah created us with this characteristic, with this, let's say, quality, that we happen to forget. Now, forgetting is not a crime. Forgetting is not a crime. We all forget. The most we can say, it is a weakness or an illness. Now, if you say illness, and if you go to your GP, that I forget, they won't be able to help you. There is no medication. So it is a human weakness that we all tend to forget. And it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But the solution for forgetfulness, if you and I forget, the only solution for this weakness is to remind people. That's all. Is to remind people. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That remind people, remind the believers. فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Surely the reminder or the remembrance will profit them. When you and I are reminded, we remember and we do things, we deliver things. This will profit us. So therefore, my dear brothers, yes, Allah has created us, asking us not to forget. Created us with this characteristic we forget. That is just a normal weakness. But that requires a reminder. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed and saying that remind the believers. And there is not only one verse in the Quran, there are many other verses giving us this medication, this solution. Not only that, the entire Quran, one of the names of the Quran is Al-Dhikr. One of the names of the Quran is Al-Dhikr, remembrance. So my dear brothers and sisters, inshallah, let us remind each other through Jumu'ah prayer, through one-to-one, through other means, so that we think about the hereafter, we invest for the hereafter, and inshallah we become successful in both worlds. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر